This week, we check out the middle-class town of LaPorte, Indiana, where a man just couldn't keep his murderous needs under the surface. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay is right. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmy Whisman.
Yay indeed for murder. Well,
Yes.
not yay for the
know.
people who were murdered, but
Yay for a story about murder.
Yay for murder talk, let's
Yeah.
say. Yay for murder discussion. Thank you guys so much for everything this week.
Yeah.
Again, God, you guys are
the best listeners in all of podcastdom.
That really is true,
For
honestly.
sure.
Honestly, when you look at everything, where you guys have put us so far, just on the charts and things like that, we
bananas.
can't thank you enough. And it really is all you guys.
Yeah.
It really is. Those iTunes reviews that we ask for every week. And by the way, if you have not given us an iTunes review, get on iTunes, give us 5 stars. It helps us out, as we're explaining right now. So much on the business end, we cannot even explain it. That and it's a weird algorithm, iTunes. It's so stupid, and we all have to be cognizant of it and try to do it and work our way up the charts.
Yeah.
And those iTunes reviews are such a big part of that. So if you haven't done it, like we said, please give us 5 stars. It doesn't matter what you say. It's not for our ego. It's really just for the business end. You can say anything at all. You can say what your favorite condiment is, and we'll be like, I like mustard too.
Yeah.
So that's good. Just don't say mayonnaise, because mayonnaise is disgusting. You
Zero
know-
calories in that mustard, though.
Yeah, mayonnaise is just gross. Nobody should be eating mayonnaise out there. If you're eating mayonnaise, stop, put it down. It's not good. You shouldn't have it.
Listen, James doesn't eat it. There's more for you guys.
I would
and
outlaw
me.
mayonnaise if it was
All of us.
possible.
All of us.
Outlaw it. But yes, those iTunes reviews are incredibly helpful. So please get on that. If that's not enough for you,
Sometimes it's not.
Sometimes these people, they are so nice to us.
It's ridiculous.
They like the show and they want to dig deep, and we appreciate it more than anybody could possibly appreciate it. You can go to patreon.com/crimeinsports.
Yep.
That's our other podcast. So, all that money comes to us. So that you can make a donation there.
Yeah.
If you want to do a one-time donation, you can do that also at PayPal. You can just use our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Which one? Crime in sports.
Crime
right?
in sports.
Right. IN. Like the
IN.
opposite of out.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, not crime and sport, not crime in sport. It's crime in sports.
Right.
So there you go. Got that. If you want to do that, like I said, there will be no more too appreciative people on the face of the earth than
there
that.
isn't.
Because it really keeps us going. And we'll explain a little later on in the episode exactly how much you keep us going in really stark detail.
Yeah.
After the
Drive it
story,
home.
after the murder story, we'll get to that, and I'll let you know. So hang around for that if you want to hear just absolute tales of horror from the podcasting industry. And you want to hear 17 different ways to get fucked in the ass, you tune in later on. So,
our first reference to anal sex.
Well,
forced anal sex.
With the first reference to forced sodomy, I will indeed give the disclaimer.
Yeah.
This is a comedy podcast.
It is.
We make jokes. We're
We
stand-up
do.
comedians.
We are.
All the facts are real.
They
the
are.
research is real. The cases are real. One thing, we never, ever try to or make any attempt to denigrate the victims or the victims' families or anything like that.
They deserve respect.
They deserve respect. And our jokes come from small towns. Our jokes come from things like that, bumbling
Fuck all
police
of those.
forces, murderers, that sort of thing. But that's what this show is. And it's a comedy. And we say, we kind of give you... We pump it up a little in the beginnings. We brace you for worse than we give you. We're honestly not that bad. We really are. As we like to say, we are assholes, but we're not scumbags.
That's the truth.
And that's the way it works. So if you're on board with that, great. Come on board. We're so happy to have you. We're going to have such a good time. If you're not on board with that, don't come in.
No.
Don't come in.
No.
There's
outside.
a law that, let's say you and your friend go to rob a liquor store together.
Yeah.
Once you guys are in the car with guns and you're planning to rob the liquor store,
everybody's guilty.
If that guy kills the clerk, you're guilty of murder too. It doesn't matter. So right now, you're coming into the liquor store with us, and if we, on a whim, decide to spray that clerk's brains all over the cheap vodka and cigarettes she's got behind the counter, you guys are responsible too. So don't fucking tweet us later and say you didn't know we were going to shoot him, because you know what? You knew we were robbing the goddamn store.
You had your fucking pistol.
You knew that little tiny Korean lady was in danger. You knew it when you walked in the goddamn door. So here we are. If you're still
so
here,
she gets for telling me hurry up and buy.
That's right. If you're still here, it's again my partner Andrew Jackson over here. You can't go the first 8 minutes without making some I love it so much. He never tries, and it always comes out. I love it. Without further ado, though, never mind all that, because everybody left here are people that want to have fun, hear stories of murder, and laugh a little bit. And let's do that.
Shut up
right
and get
now.
murder.
That's what I'm talking about. Let's do it. Let's head to the Midwest, shall we? Speaking of excitement.
Yeah, there's all kinds of it.
This is an exciting place. We're going to LaPorte, Indiana. Oh, boy.
Is that the Midwest? All right.
Yeah, the Midwest.
I was thinking...
We're going to the Middle East.
Jesus, I'm stupid.
We're going to Oman this week.
I was picturing Louisiana because it sounded so French.
LaPorte, yeah, it's the door. Yeah. And, I don't know why they named it an Indiana state anything French.
Well, they got French lick there, too.
That's true.
There's all kinds of French shit up there,
Some sort of French connection with Indiana. I don't know if the French Canadians came down and hung out there. It's on it's right beneath the lake, so they might have. Maybe they sailed across and hung out there for a while. I don't know what the hell went on back in the day. Who knows? But
somehow they got the fries.
They got it. Well, they got fries there. I know that.
That's as French as it gets there now, though.
Yeah, I would imagine
sure.
so. And there's plenty of fries in the Midwest. If you've seen the profile of any of these people from Silhouette, I've been through the Midwest. There are French fries, trust me. So LaPorte, Indiana, is on the northern border of the state. The county's in the northern border, right on the lake. It's the northwestern part of the state. It's an hour 20 minutes from Chicago. It's about 45 minutes outside of Gary, Indiana. So you're not too far from pretty major metropolis here and that sort of thing.
Where the Jackson 5's from?
That's right, Gary, Indiana. You got it, my man. Well, this is a little bit 45 minutes east of there. It's in LaPorte County. Zip code 46350, area code 219. Watch out for the LaPorters calling you.
LaPorters.
The LaPorters, that's what they call themselves. I don't know what they call themselves, but they should call themselves the LaPorters. Yeah. But it's a kind of a little larger for a small town. It's a 12.38 square miles, so that's a little bit. We've been dealing with towns lately. The last one I think was 0.8. Yeah, it was like a city block. Most of its land, over 11 miles of that is land. On their city website, this is the most out of... Some of the towns don't have like a slogan, and some of them in the beginning I might have missed them or something like that. So out of our 34 previous episodes, we've done about 25 town slogans. Yeah. This is the worst one of all. This is the one that made me go, oh, no. All of them are like,
no creativity?
No, it's just douchey.
Okay.
It's the city of douche is what it should be. That should be their... It's called... It just says, LaPorte, the hub of awesome.
What?
The hub of awesome.
I doubt there's anything awesome there.
That is... That's
the hub of it, though.
That is the worst.
That's where all awesome starts.
It starts there and branches out. If they're in the middle of the country, all the awesome that's on the coast or anywhere else is spread out from LaPorte, Indiana. It is the door to awesome. That's what it stands for. The city of douche. LaPorte's established pretty early for a Midwestern town. It's 1832 is kind of the settlement here. It was purchased. They built a sawmill in the first year. Yeah. It's either a sawmill or religion. That's what brings people to these towns super early. Sometimes a train comes through.
Oil.
Never oil. Never. Usually there, before we found oil, everything was settled there. That's why. You're not thinking like that. That's what's... Oil. Only out west you might find some oil things, but anywhere else, not quite. The first settler actually built a permanent cabin that is pretty much right where the courthouse square is now.
Okay, so it's still there.
It's still there. The courthouse is still there. Absolutely. They built the courthouse in the late 1800s, which we'll get to, and it still stands today. They did major refurbishing on the whole thing, but they built it in 1892. 1833, they established a federal land office there in LaPorte, which is where people would come from everywhere else.
Their boundaries?
Well, they'd just come in and they'd buy land from the government. This was like newly open land back then for people to settle. So it was like the land rush. You'd show up and you'd say, I put in a claim for some land, and you'd buy some land from the government in Indiana. And it becomes LaPorte, and then you ate French fries, and you're very happy.
Okay.
1836, they establish a newspaper. 1842, the LaPorte Medical School is there, which actually, one of the graduates of that medical school was William Mayo, who's the the founder of the Mayo Clinic.
Fantastic.
So that's interesting there. So they gave something out. That's the hub of something. Not awesome quite, but medicine maybe or something like that.
It's somebody that gives a shit about people with tough diseases, man.
Yeah, not bad. Great. Yeah, the Mayo Clinic's a great place for people. It's terrific. terrific. They do wonderful things for
They
people
really do.
everywhere. 1852, by that time, there's 5,000 people there already.
Holy shit.
So that's a good honking town
In
back
the
in the
1800s?
1850s.
That's great.
1850s, that is a good-sized town.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't those big cities and your little tiny towns, and that's a good one. I guess there's some sawmill jobs.
Yeah.
You go there, why not? Also, too, free land.
Yeah.
Or maybe not free, but cheap, I'm sure.
With
That
a
sort
little
of
bit
thing.
of awesome sprinkled on it, you're into it.
Lots of awesome sprinkled on there. It's the hub of it. How could it not be everywhere? There's awesome on everybody. Also, too, first mayor was elected in 1852, so that's when they really started going.
Yeah.
They planted a ton of maple trees. And it became known as Maple City after that, which sounds like a really bad nickname for a basketball
or
team.
something shitty in Canada.
Yeah, it's or something shitty in Canada. Yeah, that's like if the Toronto Raptors had like a really, the guys were dunking everywhere and they were good. They'd be like Maple City up in this motherfucker. That's what it would be right
All
there.
these maple trees running around here.
That's right, dropping some shit
with some sneakers attached to their roots.
That's what I'm talking about. Also, for one more interesting historical fact. LaPorte is known actually for a series of serial murders that took place here.
What?
Belle Guinness, which was a woman who moved to the United States in 1881. She's looking for rich guys, basically. She would post notices in newspapers to try to attract wealthy men and that sort of thing. She'd get these men to come to her farmland, and then they would disappear.
Weird.
Yeah, super weird, right? They would also...
They got sucked up into the awesome vortex.
Dude, how could you not? It's a hub. This is you don't understand when you're walking into a hub. Jesus Christ, come on, man. What they would do is she would kill these people, but not after he would get them to adopt her kids. Okay. Basically, was how he would do it. Anyway, in the end, they found the remains of over 40 men and children on her property.
Oh, Jesus.
She eventually burned down her own house to make it look like she died inside, but they eventually figured out the body inside wasn't hers.
Yeah, because it had a dick on it?
Yes, probably had a dick, or it was like, 3'3".
Right.
It was tiny.
Right.
She withdrew all of her money from her bank accounts, took off, and has never been tracked down. They never found out where she died.
Holy shit.
She's just the Black Widow of LaPorte. So that's a crazy ass story.
My God.
So this town has...
And that's not what we're covering
Not
today.
at all. We're covering a worse person than that, if you can imagine. A way worse person than that. Not 40 people this person didn't kill, but I feel like the way it was done was worse than that.
My goodness.
So this town has a history of murder, but not recently.
Okay.
We'll get into that with some statistics here. Population at this point, a bigger small town, once again, 21,916 people in this town. So a good-sized small town.
Yeah.
That's pushing the upward envelope of our small town.
City. Yeah.
I usually do about 25,000 is about my limit, unless it's it's a smaller town. Unless it's like there's 29,000, but they're not near a major city at all, and I'll make an exception for that. But
this is almost a small city at 21,000. That's a good amount of people.
Almost, but the feel of it is not at all like that. It's a very small town feel. You'd never know it was an hour 20 minutes from Chicago. The way it is, it's a very small town. It's rural. There's a lot of woods and things like that.
Lots of dirt roads.
Yeah, it's very people live a nice rural kind of a lifestyle there, especially back when we're going to talk about in the early 80s. It might be a little different now, but median age in this town is right on target. It's less than a year away from our normal target.
35?
37.4 is normal. This is 36.5.
Okay, 36 is where they're at.
Not bad. Yeah, they're good. They're fine.
Yeah.
Female-male populations are pretty normal. Everything is pretty damn normal in this town. All your marrieds, your not marrieds, the widows. Everything. This is small town USA.
Gotcha.
Little flag and a parade.
You bet.
This is the place right here. The hub
folding
of awesome right here.
Folding chair on the 4th of July with a hot dog. And
Shriners throwing candy at your kids.
Your belly out,
That's it,
all
right
that
there.
shit.
Yep, absolutely. Beer in your hand, waving. I'm sure despising minorities.
Right.
And speaking of that, let's get to the race of this whole place here. Race and religion, 85% white.
You bet.
So pretty white, about what you'd expect for Indiana. I mean, Gary's actually very, very black.
Yeah.
But this is not Gary. This is what I mean. You wouldn't know. This is away from everything.
Yeah.
This is its own little pocket here. 0.20% Asian, so that is very low. Not even half a percentage, not even a quarter percentage. A little over 11% Hispanic, which is less than the the average, but still more than you'd expect for Indiana.
Yeah.
But, that's making up the difference here. Religion in this place, 36% of the people identify as religious, which is actually more there. It's less than the average of about 49%, and less than I'd expect, honestly, for Indiana.
That general area,
for the Midwest, I would really not expect them. That's just my ignorance. That's nothing to do with,
that's my stupidity,
it's
for
just
sure.
Just assuming you figure, the Midwest and the South it's sort of the Bible Belt. I mean, it's up by Chicago.
It's the North Bible Belt.
It's the North Bible Belt. I've been through Indiana. It seems pretty conservative to me. Mike Pence was their governor, so I mean that seems conservative. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Jesus Christ, that guy looks like he runs an Eagle Scout troop somewhere, may or may not touch the kids in it. But let's get going here. 13.4% of the people are Catholic.
Yep.
That seems to be the main breadth of the people are Catholic. Some are other Christians, that sort of thing, Methodist, all that, Lutheran. 0.30% are Jewish. So there's a couple people.
A
couple. That's not bad.
It.
0.56% Islam. So, I mean,
that's fantastic.
Muslim people, too. That's diversity for this show. I mean, Jesus Christ. This we know. We're always saying, get some damn Jews in your town. What's wrong with you people? Come on. As far as voting goes, again, this town's a little different here. 55% of the people are registered Democrats in this town.
That
42% Republicans. Indiana can flip, though, because Indiana went for Obama in one of the elections. It went Democrat, and then it went back to Republican. And then it went back to Republican. Indiana flips, but it's mainly a conservative state. Mainly they vote Republican, so that's actually a little more shocking. But it's closer to the city. Maybe that's part of it. I'm not sure. As far as the economy goes, pretty average here. This is your average town. Unemployment rate is right with the national average. Household income a little lower than normal, but it's okay in a place like this because things are a little cheaper. So it's okay. Household income here average is $37,225. And normal or average is $53,482. So $16,000 less. We look at the jobs here. It's a lot of blue-collar jobs, a lot of sales jobs, production, transportation, material moving, that sort of thing. But nothing really straying too far from the averages. This is like your average town. Like if you can throw a dart and say average town USA, I feel like Walt Disney made Main Street USA, and he was like, "What's that LaPorte, Indiana doing here? Got anybody got a sketch of that? Anybody got a little sketch of that I can use?"
I don't know anything that Indiana exports other than super white basketball players that are really great at it.
They're good at that.
And then they also export unbelievably talented at moonwalking black kids. Outside of that, what does Indiana make?
Corn?
Do they make corn?
I don't know. I don't think you make
grain?
They grow it. Grain, corn. There's got to be some shit growing out there.
I'm not positive. They do in Indiana.
You know what, Indiana? Tell us what you do there.
I'm sure that there's some sort of industrial shit.
I'm sure.
There's got to be.
It has to be.
I picture Indianapolis being super.
Indianapolis is a city. It's an industrial city. It's got things.
I just don't know what they make.
I don't know what they make either. I don't know
if it's that's out of Indiana.
No, I don't know if it's like Minneapolis, which has like corporate centers, if it's like that sort of thing, or I'm not sure exactly how it works here. Cost of living, actually, like we said, the income's a little bit lower, but when you look at cost of living, we say 100 is the average. That's par. Overall cost of living is an 82, which is a little bit lower, but the housing here is very low. The housing's 47 out of 100.
How about that?
So you can afford some shit here, basically here. And if we've convinced you, knowing nothing about it and what they make there, what they do there, or anything for that matter at all about it, LaPorte, Indiana, if we've convinced you to move there, we have the LaPorte, Indiana Real Estate Report.
My favorite part.
For you right now. The average two-bedroom apartment there is about $760, which is about $400 less than the average, so not bad. The houses, though, very, very well priced here, as we'll find out. Found a two-bedroom, two-bath, 1,250 square foot house, $134,000.
That's great.
And it was nice. It wasn't a tear down. It wasn't looked like they took the copper pipes out of the walls. It's like a nice house for $134,000.
Ceiling fans aren't all sagging.
Yeah, it's a decent house. Yeah, no, there's not. I think the popcorn's off the ceiling, that sort of thing. 4-bedroom, 3-bath, 3,500 square foot house.
Whoa,
that's a big house.
There's a lot of house.
That's a lot of house. $275,000.
That's unbelievably affordable.
Great price. And then a 5-bedroom, 4-bath, 5,200 square foot.
That's a mansion.
You could rent that out to people that you don't even know, and
you'd never see them.
You would never get to know them because they'd be over there. $389,000.
That's unbelievable.
That for less than $400,000 is it's insane.
You could put up a wall halfway through that house, never see those people, and still make your mortgage.
It'd be terrific. Yeah, $389 is not bad for that at all. Really, you could rent out a couple of rooms and pay your mortgage and never have to worry about it. It'd be fantastic. Things to do in LaPorte, Indiana. They do have things to do, exciting things to do.
Okay.
Like you can go to the Heston Steam Museum.
I'm sensing your sarcasm.
That sounds exciting. Doesn't that sound exciting, Jimmy?
Steampunk people from all around.
Yeah.
Rushing to this town.
They all dress up like assholes with goggles on and shit. You know it. You fucking stupid top
metal
hats and gloves and goddamn metal monocle on their eye looking
shoulder
asshole.
pads and shit.
Jesus Christ. Sorry, steampunk people.
You're douchebags.
You're fine in your own environment. The moment you step out of that, you look like an asshole. Yeah, there's no in between there.
You're like if a Ren Fair person walks away from the Ren Fair.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Are you homeless like 300 years ago?
Or are you a time traveler?
Yeah,
what's
going on here? Are you in a Monty Python movie? What are we doing? There is also the Red Barn Experience.
What in the fuck is that?
Which looks exactly like it is. It's a red barn, and you go experience it.
Okay.
So knock yourself out there. Check out that red barn.
Sounds like I can do that in a book.
Either that, or this is what I mean. How this is? It's a bigger city, but it's a very small town. The other thing they're touting on the town website, huge, is the night bike ride.
Oh,
they're into
bicycles.
The night bike ride. The ride was rescheduled because of severe weather on July 21st, Jimmy. So that happens. The ride will take you on. Now listen to this wording here and tell me if this sounds leisurely to you. The ride will take you on a leisurely 13-mile starlit bike ride through the city.
No.
Leisurely.
Why does it take 13 miles?
13 miles on your bike. Please, just a stroll.
We're going to go down every fucking street in this town.
Multiple times. It's a 12 point. It's basically the square mileage of the town. You're going to cover every square mile of the town.
We're going to go for a fucking marathon on a bike. No.
It does say, please note, this is not capitalized a race. Okay. This is not a race. Nobody be weaving in and out, knocking old people down.
There's going to be Bill with his beer on the back in the middle of the pack.
I'm not sure if that's allowed, Jimmy, because they're very strict. Let me get into the rules. All participants must wear a helmet and have a headlight and taillight on their bike.
Okay.
Not just fucking around.
Can I drag a trailer with my ice chest in
I'm
it?
sure that's fine. It's Indiana. I think that's allowed. Participants under the age of 10 must be accompanied and ride with an adult, either pulling behind or tandem, and require their own registration. So very complicated to bring your kids.
Registration?
Register. You got to have a tandem bike. The cost is $20 per person, which includes T-shirts and snacks.
Sweet fuck.
Register at the park office if you're interested in that.
That's a lot of money to go ride your bike
around town.
Are you going to provide the bike, you fuckers?
Hey, how about I just go for a bike ride, and if I see you guys, I'll wave. How's that sound? If I can do that shit for free, I have my own T-shirt, and I'll bring some fruit snacks from the house. This is really not necessary. I got a granola bars in there.
Is everybody out of T-shirts? They need to get one?
I need that night bike ride T-shirt. Jesus. Now, crime. Let's get to the crime, the thing we are interested in here. Property crime, which robbery and that sort of thing here. Obviously, what property crime is, it's pretty obvious, is almost twice the national average. They will steal your shit in LaPorte. Maybe that's why they need that T-shirt. All of their other T-shirts have been stolen. So that's what it is. So almost twice the national average, which that's high. Violent crime, on the other hand, in this town is less than half the national average.
Okay.
So they're not violent, but they'll just steal your shit.
They'll steal it, and if they get caught, they'll walk away.
Exactly. Seems like they have probably a few people on meth breaking into cars.
And they'll drop your shit and run if they...
and they'll take off. They shuffle into I get back on my bike. I was just doing the bike ride. I wasn't stealing shit. I swear.
Wait, that's my bike too. What are you doing?
What are you doing, asshole? So that's what they have going on there. It's a quiet, nice little town for the most part. It's nonviolent, that sort of thing. Now let's go back in time. Let's go back to January 29th, 1953. Okay. Where a man named Frank R. Davis is born. Frank Roy Davis. He's born back then. He ends up in this area. As a child. He has some problems that we're going to get into with his birth and with some health issues that cause him to act out. He has no control over himself, basically. He acts out. He does a lot of things that are considered very strange and considered sort of dangerously strange, which, honestly, we're talking about at the age of 14 right now. We're going to get into what he did real quick. This is 1967. So strange behavior in the Midwest in 1967 could pretty much be his hair was starting to grow below his ear. You know what I mean? That could be anything for that. But I'm going to go ahead and take their word that they actually thought and knew what they were doing for what happens in the future. I feel like they did it. But they also might have caused what happened, as we'll get into here. He is at 14 years old. He's placed in Beatty Hospital. This this is sort of an institution where he can go for his problems and how he's been. So obviously a bad start if you're 14 going into an institution. He was placed in an adult ward at 14 in an adult ward with mental patients, where he was sodomized.
Oh, fuck.
Not only by other inmates,
of course,
adults, but also staff too.
Oh, Jesus!
What he went through was really bad. There's documents to it. It's it happened. It's not good at all. It's a real thing. This isn't something he came up with later and made up. This is actually a documented thing.
Is that a place that's closed down now and people go tour it during Halloween?
It's got a different name, but it's still going.
It's still going.
Still going.
Oh,
got a different
fuck.
name. I'm sure they run things a little differently than they did then. I don't know if you guys have ever seen footage. There's tons of documentaries. The late 60s, early 70s, they really, really made a big deal, the media, of exposing these institutions that would basically just throw a bunch of kids in a room and, tie them to radiators and put them in straitjackets and not give them any treatment.
And then just collect government checks.
Yeah, and kids would be banging their heads against the wall. They do nothing. And so that was a big deal. Geraldo, as useless as Geraldo is, he actually did a pretty good expose on one of them in about 1971. There's a documentary called Cropsy on Netflix that's about kids that had a closed down institution in their neighborhood, and that's the institution that he got closed down.
Wow.
It was a horrible, horrible place where horrible things happen, and I feel like this is the exact type of place that is. He was committed there for 1 year, Frank was.
Oh, my God,
where
a year of torture?
Sodomized and abused the entire time. I mean, from the moment he got there, for the entire year, he was just abused horribly. So by 1971, he is in Union Mills, Indiana. He's had this horrible experience, obviously, behind him. Now, we don't know what his problems were before, but I guarantee you they're worse now. Guarantee you. Whatever happened, that didn't solve it. You know what I mean? He didn't come out going, whew, all right, I feel good now. Let's join the Boy Scouts. That didn't happen.
Shake that off.
That didn't happen at all. Well,
tuck my butthole back in and walk on my life.
Well, walk this off here. Let me try to walk this off. And he tries to walk this off all the way to June 3rd, 1971, when a 13-year-old boy named Dwayne Bush is reported missing from his home in Union Hills, Indiana. They thought he was a runaway at first. Apparently he had this was a troubled kid. This Dwayne Bush, he had some problems with his parents and some problems with the juvenile court system and authorities and cops lately. So they thought he ran away, and they thought he was just running away.
Like Alpha Dog.
Yeah, and in 1971, too, it was a little different. If a kid ran away, he might just be gone.
Right.
Like, he ran away. I don't know. You can get a hold of him. I'll track him down on Facebook. Like, he's gone.
Call his cell phone.
Yeah, if he calls, great. If not, I don't know what to do. We tell people to look for him. So they just thought he ran away, and they thought he was off being a delinquent. Turns out that 3 months after that, a hunter finds his scattered remains of his skeleton in the woods 5 miles outside of town.
Hunters.
He had been kidnapped, sodomized, and strangled.
Jesus, they could figure that out from the remains?
They figured it out from something else later, but you can also figure out, because strangulation on some of the bones, it depends on what it is. Sometimes they can find that out.
Some of the neck bones are broken. There's only one way to break those.
Exactly, some of those. So, but this is scattered. I mean, this was broken up in like Dahmer style.
Jesus.
Dahmer would break them up when he was a kid and toss them.
Hammer.
With a hammer, exactly.
It spun around. That's sick.
It spun around
like a sprinkler.
That's it. I feel like that's what this guy was doing.
Scary.
Just yay, bones, like a sick fuck, man. Ridiculous.
That's the wrong usage of yay, you fuckers. Don't ever use it like that.
When you're scattering the broken up skeletal remains of a teenage boy, please don't shout yay. Well, if you do, don't give us credit for it. Don't go, hey, that Whisman sucks. I just yayed. Don't do it.
Don't shout that in the wilderness.
No, God,
shut up and give me murder. None of that.
Jesus Christ, no. Button. Don't wear your small town murder T-shirt either while you're doing that. It's going to look bad on the mugshot.
No.
Actually, though, that would probably get us some good pub.
I might enjoy that.
So if you're going to murder someone anyway, don't do it for us.
Right.
But if you're about to murder someone, first of all, don't.
Right.
Stop doing it. Don't do it right now. But if you're
going to
doing
get in
it
any
anyway,
kind of trouble where there's a mugshot coming,
wear your small town murder T-shirt.
Suit up.
Do it up.
Suit up. Boot up. I want to see it.
Especially if it's a crazy crime that's going to get national attention. This poor boy here, this poor Dwayne Bush, I feel bad for laughing because this is horrible what happened to him. For some reason, I don't know why, and it's not true, but the farther back things happen, the less sensitive it feels for some. Even though it's not, obviously this is a poor young boy, and he had parents that this happened to, and it's horrible. And it doesn't. The passing of 46 years doesn't make it any better. but I feel like it's better than if it happened 6 years ago.
Right.
I feel like it's
a little more closure.
It's so strange.
Right.
I feel like
it's so far from my life. It's so far removed from where I'm at.
Well, it's almost like it didn't happen because they were all driving like 40-foot long Dodge Darts and wearing butterfly collars and having all these. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you took a snapshot, that picture looks nothing like now.
Cars
it's like
had wings for shit's sake.
It's like
not like
another
wings,
planet.
But rear fins.
Yeah,
like it's fucking
Elvis
weird.
was alive.
Yeah, that's bananas.
Like,
that's so weird.
Nixon was the president of the United States,
so
and
weird.
we were in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not.
So weird.
We were in the movie Platoon. Like
right.
it's not. It seems like it's another time, even though it's not. Obviously, but he was identified by dental charts because they couldn't identify him any other way, which is horrible about that.
That's my favorite joke from Robert Schimmel. That he says, if they identify you with dental records, they don't know who you are. How the fuck do they know who your dentist
they know who
is?
Your dentist is. Yeah, I love that too. That's fantastic.
Anyhow, so they identified him with dental records.
So they identify him with dental records. Now, obviously the whole area has terrorized now from this 13-year-old boy disappearing from his house and finding skeletal remains. It's not what you expect in rural Indiana.
Of course.
Right after this, shortly after this, Frank Davis, our buddy, if we remember here, is convicted on a charge of burglary. Okay. He is sentenced to a term of 1 to 10 years in the state penitentiary for this.
Okay.
And nothing happens around there for a while.
This seems steep for a burglary.
Well, yeah, but it's the 70s.
Anywhere from 1 to 10, though.
Anywhere from 1 to 10.
2.
That's the thing. And he ends up not doing much time at all because this is late 71. He is convicted of this, and he's out before 74.
Okay.
So he does less than 3 years. I don't have the exact records because I try my hardest to find everything, but inmate release records from the early 70s in Indiana are really outside of my wheelhouse. I really don't know how to do that. So I tried my best, though. I promise you that. But yeah, anyway, he is convicted. He's back out. Less than 3 months after he's released, he and a friend of his hold up a grocery store to steal $40.
I mean, he's got to get back on his feet.
He's got to get back on. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff. He's got a lot of shit to catch up on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's got tons of
3
stuff
years
going
of
on.
lost time.
It happens, man. A lot of things to do. This is a busy man, Jimmy.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of irons in the fire. So his one iron here is going to prison. That's his main iron and his main fire. This is a 10-year sentence he receives at this point.
Over $40.
Over $40.
Yeah.
So 10 years in prison for but it's your second offense too. And you literally the minute you got out of jail, you were doing it again.
Yeah.
So clearly you have
At
not
least
learned your lesson.
plotting
You have not learned your lesson, obviously. So he gets that. He escapes from prison in 1975.
Holy shit.
Makes an escape. A lot of these, how many cases have we covered where someone has escaped from prison?
I can't believe it's that easy to escape.
We've had literally, I think, 8 or 10 escapes now in 35 episodes. How easy is it to fucking escape from jail? Lock that shit up, for Christ's sake. Why have a jail if you can't keep people in it? It's the whole fucking
if
point.
they can just walk out the door, then why you lock?
That's the whole point.
At least put a lock on it and engage it.
There's no other point to prison.
Right.
Otherwise, just let him out in the street and say, follow that guy and watch him. That's
you
prison.
Stay behind this door now.
You. He's quickly recaptured, though, thankfully. He gets paroled in 1982. So he's back on the street in 82. But again, don't think he quite learned his lesson.
No.
He's at the very end of 82. He's released from prison. All this time. And like we said, he was only out for less than 3 months, commits the robbery, right back in prison. Okay. So you would think this guy would want some freedom and want to not go to prison.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe get a job.
Yeah.
Start trying to be a normal member of society, try to get an apartment, find a girlfriend, normal shit that people do.
Here's the thing that I just want to point out is that our system is so fucked that you get a guy that's been through a mental facility that's clearly got mental problems. He goes to jail for robbery. He's in there for a couple of years. You got time to actually put him in through some courses and shit. He gets out.
You think
obviously, what you guys didn't fucking work because he's back in prison now for 10 years. Now you have the chance to really. He has so much time to really be treated.
They're not treating him.
And now he's out in 83.
And especially back then.
Yeah.
The treatment wasn't a huge deal.
It's unbelievable.
And now it isn't really even. I mean, there's some prisons that there are and they have programs, but generally it's just housing.
Our system is so fucked up.
It's pretty fucked up. They put him back out on the street, and you have to put him back out on the street. He stole $40.
Right.
So you can't keep him forever just going, clearly he's a scumbag.
Right.
You got to give him another chance, but they gave him no tools to work with.
Right.
Not that it's their responsibility to give him tools to work with, but guess what? When he goes out and does something shitty, You didn't help.
Whose fault is it now?
It's not fault or not. It didn't help any.
Right.
It's one of those things.
Right.
It may not be your fault, but you really didn't make it not happen at all.
You didn't do anything to make it not your fault, too.
That's
the thing
it's right there.
You at least make a fucking effort to keep us safe.
Yeah, you didn't try, and that's the main issue.
The whole point of the correction facility is the first word corrections.
Yeah, there's no
corrections.
Correct the shit. Yeah, that's not the way this worked back then. And honestly, even if they tried their hardest, even if that prison had the best programs in the world, I'm not sure this guy is a candidate. As we'll get into what he did, I really don't think any amount of help would have helped this guy. I think he's got this is deep seated, and this goes back to many things. We'll talk about it as we go through it. You'll see what I mean.
You know what? You know what I just thought of. Indiana does do. They have fucking maximum securities there. Mm-hmm. They're one of the places that in Terre Haute, right?
Those are federal, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what they do there.
Supermaxes,
They do fucking
Colorado, right? Yeah, that's one of the places.
Supermax. Let's fucking figure out what you're doing in there. You're putting those people through courses and classes.
Yeah, that's the federal government, though, not the state government.
You got a point.
Which is a little better funded.
Yeah, a lot better funded.
I've seen a lot of prison, like inside prison documentaries. The federal prisons look nothing like the state prisons.
They look so clean.
They look like they're actually a facility, like a government facility, rather than behind some guy's barn, which is what half of the fucking state prisons look like. They're total shitholes.
Private funded horse shit.
That's what it is. Yeah. January. That's the other thing too. Federal prisons aren't privatized.
Right.
So that's the other reason we have that.
They got some fat cat living in Texas, not even in Indiana.
No.
Profiting off holding those fuckers in those cells.
Profiting off of this asshole getting out, and then on January, going right the fuck back on January 10th, 1983, when a 15-year-old boy leaves a store in LaPorte, Indiana. He'd been playing an arcade game in the store. 83, man, that's arcade central.
Double Dragon,
right there.
babe.
He went out there with a pocket full of quarters ready to throw down. So I don't think Double Dragon was out yet.
I'm sure he was rocking Pac-Man and
Hubert and Pac-Man or some shit.
Galaga, some shit like that.
Something, definitely. It's about 5 p.m. He takes his route home, which I guess is his normal route home. I guess he goes to play video games a lot, which sounds like small-town Indiana, early 80s. He takes a route home through a cornfield.
Yeah.
So he's playing his arcade game, going home through the cornfield.
So crazy.
Small-town Midwestern
life.
That's
America, and it seems so foreign to me.
Yeah, I know, me too.
To take a path through a fucking cornfield.
Yeah, it does seem very foreign to me, too.
Somebody else's property.
Yeah, well,
you get yourself shot.
They all know each other. Hey, it's a little guy who always comes through here. He's fine. It's just a cornfield.
Jesus.
I don't know. As he walks through the field, he noticed that someone was following him. A man is following him.
Yeah.
This guy ended up running ahead of him, like running by the kid, and ending up at the end of the cornfield. Like he ran by him like he was running, like had nothing to do with the kid. Like, I'm running this way. The kid's like, oh, that guy's running. That's it. So he goes down there. He ends up at the end of the cornfield. This kid gets close to the man by the end of the cornfield. I don't think he was too worried about it, though, because it would have been like, well, he would have done something to me in the cornfield if he wanted to do something. He doesn't need to do it here. But as he gets closer to this man, by the way, spoiler alert, this is Frank Davis. As he gets closer to this man, Frank Davis, Frank grabs him and pulls a gun on him.
Oh my God!
That's an escalation right there. That's a little more than stealing $40. He's escalating.
He's up the penalty,
but he's not really escalating because we'll find out 1971 happened, as we talked about with Dwayne Bush. What do you think did that? This is
wasn't the 13-year-old.
No, that's weird, right? This is just stepping right back in, man.
Wasn't the cornfield running kid?
No. You'd think it would. All his arcade games, he kills people and spreads their skeletal remains. That's what happens, man.
He's a trespasser at minimum.
You know it. Frank forces this poor kid into a wooded area. He tells him to sit down, and he starts talking to him. Okay? This guy here, Frank, knew everything about this kid. Somehow he knew where he lived. He knew his sister's name. He knew his girlfriend's name.
Oh my God.
He knew everything about him, which is super weird. If some guy in a cornfield
you've never seen before
pulls a gun on you, drags you into the woods, and tells you everything about yourself, you're going to be like, "What the fuck? This is? Do you work for the CIA? What is happening right now?" The kid obviously asked Frank, "How do you know all of this?" And Frank told him, "Well, I just do," which is even creepier.
So
I would
scary.
want an explanation. Little time goes by, and they're in the woods still, and Frank makes the boy move to another part of the woods. And in this other part of the woods, he ties a wire around the kid's neck.
No.
Again, terrible sign. One wire's around his neck and wrapped around Frank's hands, so he can yank on it without hurting his hand, I guess, a little bit. He then, at this point, when he's got him like this, he's got control of him, obviously, because he's got a wire with his hand, so he can let go, he can let loose, and he can tighten up, and he can basically make the kid do what he wants. It's at this point that Frank This is horrible. At this point, he takes the boy's pants off and performs oral sex on the boy.
Jesus.
Okay. And then he tells him, Frank tells the boy that he's going to take the wire off of his neck at this point, which makes the kid feel a little better.
Yeah.
And then he instead pulls it tighter until the boy passes out.
Yeah.
This is weird shit, by the way.
I've never heard of a sex assault like that.
Well, this is what I wanted to talk about for 1 second here. First of all, it's horrible to do anything to obviously, everything he just did is not recommended. Is not recommended small town murder behavior. We don't recommend any of that, and we're horrified by everything about that. But it's so strange. It's a weird thing. Have you ever seen Dope Sick Love? We've talked about this documentary.
Such a great documentary.
It's a great documentary about crackheads in the street. And in this, the guys who are crackheads, every crackhead in these documentaries, they're all a prostitute of some kind. They're all selling their ass in some way or another. But the guys, they don't sell themselves to get fucked by other guys. They pay
to get a beat. It's
people
so creepy.
pay to blow them.
Yeah, it's so weird.
People call them up and they say, "Come over to my house," and then they pay them and blow them.
It's so creepy.
So you walk away with money and a blowjob, which is the strangest financial transaction I've ever fucking seen in my life. Right there,
which is like a dream for a guy if it's like a hot chick.
Well, yeah, that's like you don't go to the drive-thru at McDonald's and they go, "Here's your food and here's $12 back," like the cost of it too. You're like, "What is that?" Like it's the weirdest shit.
Here's a $20 for my food and here's $36 change. What?
I get that this is a fetish thing and he's got I get that this has nothing to do with that, but it
just lets you know where the psyche is. It's fucked up.
I tried to put it in. Maybe that's his point. That's his whoever these guys are that hire these crackheads to blow. I feel like that's where this guy is. Except he's not hiring anybody.
No.
And guess what? He has a predilection for teenage boys because.
Shitty.
Guess when he was abused? Right around this time when he was 14, and we all know psychologically with this, and it's and I feel terrible saying this, but it's statistically true. If you're molested as a child and not your fault, obviously. By any stretch of the imagination, we feel horrible for anybody. Jimmy, firsthand, you know this shit.
Right. And it's not even that you go one way or the other. It's like you go extreme one way or the other. Like you're super guarded and very careful. Like when I had my daughter and my son.
Some people become promiscuous. Some people become aggressive.
I was very weirded out, holding them and kissing them in public. I was like, are people thinking that I'm going to try to fuck my own kid? Like that's the kind of things that go through your head.
Yes. And that's
so shitty.
It's horrible. And it really is. And that's why this is extra tough because we don't know if this wouldn't have happened if that happened, but god damn it, it's a shitload less likely. Especially in a way of aggressively, the way it happened to him is the way he's doing it to others. He may have been
a homosexual man, and that's fine, but he's not choking out 13-year-olds and forcefully blowing them. That's fucked up.
This is a different thing. This wasn't a sexuality. I feel like this was imprinted upon him. I don't feel like
this is not natural behavior by any stretch.
This is absolutely abnormal behavior to choke someone with a wire till they. I know some people like choking and shit like that, but at gunpoint in the woods, no, this is horrible.
And the majority of those people like getting themselves choked. It's not that they like choking others.
Exactly.
It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's way fucked up. So now this poor kid regains consciousness. Okay. After this, he passes out. He regains consciousness. Frank takes the wire off of his neck and then again takes him to a different part of the woods.
Oh, my God.
So he's walking him around. He then, at this point, makes the boy lie down on his stomach.
Sweet Pete.
Which, if I'm this kid, I don't know what I'm more scared of because I know he's got a gun. So this might be execucation style.
I've also been blacked out for a while. I don't know how long, and I don't know what he went and found.
What he did, or he's already he obviously has some sexual plans for me. This is another thing. This kid is more afraid of being shot, which is reasonable. He pleads with Frank not to shoot him. They have a conversation. Frank says that if he lets him go, the kid's going to tell the police what happened. And the kid said he wouldn't tell anybody. He swears to God. I swear I won't tell anybody. Just let me go. It's fine. I don't know you. We don't know each other. It's no worries.
I don't even know your name, Frank.
I don't even know your name, Frank R. Davis. But birth date, whatever, 53. Damn it, I forgot his birthday. I think it's July 29th, 53. Anyway, Frank tells the boy that he'll leave him, but he's going to knock him unconscious first.
Okay.
He's got to be unconscious when he walks away.
God.
He doesn't feel like he's going to chase him and point to him in the neighborhood, I assume. So he hits the boy in the back of the head with the gun.
Yeah.
And he pretends to be unconscious.
Good.
Smartly.
Yeah.
Second that thing, I don't care if he grazed you. You go down like you're...
Right. Like you're throwing a fight.
Yeah, you go down like Hulk Hogan right before he makes a comeback. And you twitch, you fucking convulse.
You fucking Hulk up.
You do it right before the Hulk up, when he's down and out, man. Nothing can bring him back. That's what you do. While the boy is down, after he hits him with the gun and he's pretending he's unconscious, Frank doesn't quite buy that, apparently, because he hits him with the gun 8 or 9 more times.
Oh, Jesus.
Just beating this poor kid with a gun in the head. This is horrific. Then he pushes them with his foot to see if he's moving. Like, hey, is he going to move here? Is he faking?
Yeah.
He doesn't move, so Frank runs off.
Yeah.
This poor kid was conscious through all of this. Jeez. He didn't get knocked out. He's lays still for several minutes.
This kid's my fucking hero.
He's a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah.
This kid.
He's 13 years old. He can take a beating like that, and
he's got the wherewithal to try to think to
man.
Get out of it. He really is.
I love him.
No, he didn't need a bar mitzvah at 13.
No.
This is fine for him. There's not that many Jews in the nation, so he would have had a hard time finding one. So I don't know, but this is the worst way to be bar mitzvah ever. This is the world's worst bar mitzvah.
That's the worst Nagila Hava ever.
This is like worse than if they hired a clown for you. This is way worse. Way fucking worse.
Holy fuck.
So he gets up. This poor kid gets up. He's bleeding, obviously. He's been pummeled with a gun. He feels dizzy and lightheaded, obviously, because he's been pummeled and losing blood. But he's able to walk all the way to his house.
My man.
He gets to his house. His mother obviously freaks the shit out, as any parent would. What the fuck happened to you? Takes him to the hospital. This young boy at the hospital says he's never seen the man before, but the man told him his name was Frank.
Oh.
That's all he got out of him. His name was Frank.
Yeah.
He couldn't even make up a fucking name, this guy. Bill.
Right.
Todd.
Right.
Make up a goddamn name, you idiot. I'm glad he didn't, but fucking moron. I mean,
so much for my hero keeping his promise, though. Come on, kid.
Come on, kid. What are you doing? Jesus Christ.
You swore to God for Pete's
sake. He's a survivor, but he's dishonest. Let's be realistic here. Let's be honest.
I love this kid, though.
You poor kid. I know, man. Good kid and
I didn't even
tough
want his
kid.
name. I love him.
No, his name wasn't really out there very much. I did some digging and found it, but it didn't look like he wanted it out there. It looked like it was hidden in most places, so I'm not gonna bring it up.
Let him live his life of whatever he's living.
Yeah, I try to only bring them up when they're when they're out there a lot.
Center of the trial, and the star witness, and all that stuff is out there.
They're in the newspaper a lot, but if I have to dig it up in some court document or something, it's not in any of the newspapers, and there's no need to do it. June 16th, 83, during the day, this is during the daytime, there's a teenage boy named Darren Reed.
Yeah.
He's a 15-year-old kid. He's at home with his relatives, and they're like outside hanging out in the neighborhood. Frank is there, and Frank has a motorcycle, a dirt bike, whatever the hell it is. I think it's a dirt bike, the way they describe what happens later here. And he lets the kids in the neighborhood use it.
Really?
He's like, hey, you guys want to go for a spin on my bike? Go ahead.
Yeah.
So the kids are like, cool, fuck. I mean, you're 15.
Yeah.
Kid's letting you ride his dirt bike. Guy's letting you ride his dirt bike around. What the hell, right? Who cares? So they're riding it around. And he's not that old. He's only 30 at this point.
Yeah.
So a 30-year-old to a teenager,
Jesus.
That's that cusp.
Yeah.
That's like an estuary, that area of like... He's not like my dad yet. He's like sort of young. Like, it's like a cool older brother type of thing at that point, or like a a cousin who's like
it's almost on that creepy edge. To where why are you hanging out with kids?
Exactly. But if you're just in the neighborhood and he was there and he happened to have a dirt bike, hey, he's just a cool. But to kids, it's not creepy. It's that estuary period.
To 30-year-olds, it's like it's fuck creepy. You doing? But to a 15-year-old, it's like that dude's 30.
But if he was 40,
that's
you're
fucking
like,
weird.
That's weird. You're in my dad's. This is creepy. But 30 is like, oh, all right, he's he probably is. I don't know, whatever. So he lets
could
the
be
kids.
A cousin, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's it. He lets the kids ride the motorcycle, and then Frank and Darren make plans to meet up later in the evening to hang out, maybe ride the motorcycle some more, whatever, that sort of thing. So about 10 o'clock, Frank hides by some railroad tracks where he thinks Darren's going to be coming out. So he hears Darren walk by, and Frank calls out to Darren, and he stops. Darren stops, and they talk, and Frank gives Darren a beer. They sit there and they drink a beer right away. Then I'm creeped out from that immediately. An old guy giving him beer in public. Yeah. That's super weird. After a few minutes here, they're hanging out. They have a beer. Darren says, I have to go home now.
Yeah.
So, time's a wasting. Got to get going now.
Burning the midnight oil.
Yeah, it's past 10 o'clock, and it's, he's a teenage kid. His parents are going to wonder
where he is.
Mom might
wonder at 15, where the fuck am I?
Yeah, he probably said, I'm running down to get a video game or some shit. I don't know what. I'm going to get an Atari game. I'm going to get Defender from John down the street. You know what I mean? I'm going to get Donkey Kong.
And if I come home reeking of beer and motorcycle exhaust, Mom's going to have some questions.
She's gonna. So, he drinks a beer. He wants to go home after a few minutes, but Frank threatens Darren with a knife.
Oh, boy.
So he says, you can't go home.
Yeah.
You're staying here. He gets a wire out. He likes having a wire.
Yeah.
He ties the wire around his hands and neck. He does that trick with him. So if he moves his hands, he's choking himself. He takes Darren into some weeds beside the track.
Oh, fuck.
Over here, again, we know how this is going. He performs oral sex on Darren.
Jesus.
Again with the wire, so poor Darren couldn't even defend himself because his hands were tied to it.
If he tries to punch the guy out, get him off his dick, he's going to choke himself. It's
horrible. If that's not enough, after that, he doesn't make the mistake he made the first time.
Yeah.
He makes sure to choke this kid to death with his hands, though. With his hands, which is much more personal than the wire, even. Because
it takes a while.
It takes a while. You have to. You have to be a special kind of piece of shit to be able to strangle someone with your hands.
Right.
You really do.
Yeah.
Hey, shooting someone, stabbing someone, horrible.
Right.
But I've been mad enough where I could definitely have shot somebody if I had the opportunity and just a slight lapse of something. You guys have heard me fly off the handle. It could happen. That's why I don't have any guns or any weapons.
And
in my
not
house.
even that. If somebody picked up a weapon and I'm mad enough, fuck it. It's self-defense now.
Yeah, this is wow. Fuck, man, this is crazy. What he does here is then he carries Darren's body across a field and across a fence and leaves it in the weeds, just to be
so trashy.
Found. Leaves it in the weeds. Horrible, man. So this guy is on, and that's 6 months he's been out of prison, and he's already had 2 attacks, and one of them, he learned a lesson from the first one, and he made sure to escalate it to, oh, no, I have to make sure they're dead.
Yeah.
That's how it works here. I can't just...
God.
Yeah. He thought, maybe I can just force him to do this and then get away with it, and, if I don't kill him, it's cool. He might have actually thought that. That's the scary part.
Now he knows that there's a witness out there that knows his name, too.
Yeah, Frank. He knows his name is Frank, but that kid doesn't, unfortunately for him, they never connect that while this is going on.
Okay. And now back to the show.
June 18th, 1983. This is 2 days later after Darren was killed, okay? 2 days. They haven't even found Darren's body yet.
Oh, boy.
He's still sitting there. 2 teenage boys, Jeff Lopez and Eric Fuller.
He's going to go, what?
They're going camping. They're camping out. It's at a little camp area in the woods just south of LaPorte. So it's in town, basically, just south of town. There's some woods. They're going to camp out there as... How many times did you do shit like that when you were 15?
I mean, I
used to go drive out.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't really camp. We just light a fire and kids would drink beer and smoke weed and
when
we'd
I was
talk
18
all night
and 19,
and
we'd go up to the lake and do that stuff. That's true. Yeah, but
I remember when I was like 15, we'd go find.
You would?
Yeah, we'd go find woods, but there'd be like
bananas.
There'd be like 8 of us, and I'm telling you right now, if anybody, this guy would have been afraid of us. I'm sure. He wouldn't have. We wouldn't have been there's some prey. He would have been like, those kids look dangerous. Fuck, man. We were insane.
Those kids smell like weed.
Those kids smell like weed. All of them have knives. They're all fucking crazy. That one's got a prison tattoo. He's only 16. Literally, that was my friend, so he wouldn't. We would have seen this guy and be like, get the fuck out of here, asshole. I'll fuck you up. And he would have ran away. Because there was always those weird guys in the woods, too.
Yeah.
There was a guy behind, there was a strip mall, and there was some little patch of woods behind it where we used to go and smoke weed when I was 16 or whatever.
Sure.
And there was a fucking homeless guy that lived back there, and he had a car that he'd be sleeping out in the parking lot, and then you'd see him back there, and he had this whole camp set up back there. And he was this old fucking guy, and when you went into the woods, you'd make noise and shit, because otherwise he'd be jerking off in the woods all the time. So I've seen a 75-year-old man sitting in the woods, buck naked, just jerking off, sitting on a milk crate.
Sweet Christ.
Swear to God. So there are creepy people in the fucking woods is what I'm getting at.
The way to make jerking off and getting caught weirder is be sitting on a milk crate. And then, that's so creepy. Where'd you even find a fucking milk crate, sir?
Oh, by the way, and then don't stop when 6 teenagers walk by you. Don't stop
keep going.
Just He wouldn't look at us, but he'd glance over, make sure no one was attacking him, and he'd just keep going. And we'd be like, fucking weirdo. But he wasn't a threat. He was an old man. So we're like, fuck you, old man. Yeah. God knows what he did to small kids back there or something. Who fucking knows?
Squirrels or some shit.
Could be anything. So anyway, these poor kids here, Jeff Lopez and Eric Fuller, they decide to go camping. They're both 15 years old. Or I'm sorry, Jeff is 15. I think Eric is 14. Okay. They set up camps. They set up camp at Kingsbury Fish and Wildlife Park. Okay. It's a fish and wildlife. It's a park where you go to camp. It's between LaPorte and Union Mills, which is where
just down the road,
and where he's from, where they birthed him.
Right.
They take a tent, they take sleeping bags, cooking gear. Yeah. They're going camping and an axe with them too. Take an axe, so you never know. A weapon, you might want to split some wood for fire. Who knows? They set their tent up, and then they go to collect firewood. So there you go. There's the axe. They're walking along some railroad tracks looking for dry firewood, and they see a man sitting beside the tracks. Yeah. This man is Frank. Yeah. Frank's just hanging out. He just knows where to sit. But then again, too, in a small town, if you sit by the railroad tracks, eventually teenagers will walk by
find
you.
A kid.
That's where they walk. Yeah. We used to walk the railroad tracks all the time. So that is what it is. So they're looking for firewood. They see Frank. He's smoking a joint, sitting there. So like I said, he's not 80 years old jerking off. Right. He's just a youngish-looking guy sitting on the side of the railroad track smoking a joint.
Cool guy.
When you're 15, you're like, well, that guy's got weed. Yeah. You know, hey, look at that. So he asked if the two boys want any of this? Yeah. And they said, fuck yeah, we want some of that. That's right. So we're
camping.
That's right. They sit down, they hang out with him. He tells them his name's Frank Davis. How you doing? I'm Frank Davis. They talk for a short time about how he knows how to grow marijuana. He tells them all about, and that's bullshit that some older guy would tell kids. Like, I got a big grow operation. Yeah. We grow tons of marijuana. All of the kids are like, oh, my God, that's so cool. Like, 15-year-olds are idiots like that. I was the same way. That would have impressed me at 15. I would have been like, cool, dude. Well, how do you do that?
Right.
Now, what he does now is he says, hey, guys, I got a motorcycle. I got a dirt bike. You guys want to ride it? You're more than welcome to. I'm just hanging out, smoking a joint. You guys can get on the motorcycle. So they were like, shit, cool, man. Cool. So they got on the bike and they're riding it around. They said what a cool guy he was. They said he was just friendly. They called him all smiles. Just the nicest guy. They said his motorcycle got bogged down in the mud for a while and it was a pain to get out. And they said he didn't even mind. He was like, "That's all right, guys. It happens. Man, you're out riding dirt bikes, man. That's
you
life."
Trashed my shit. It's all right.
Like, oh my God, this guy's great. What a nice giving us weed, letting us ride his bike. This is terrific. So they come later on. They break up or they break apart. After that, we're going to go back to our campsite. See you later. And he's like, all right, guys, have a good one, man. Take off. Good. I'm sure he collected all the information of where they were, where they'd be, all that sort of thing. So later on, they're at their campsite. Who comes pulling up on his motorcycle? But old Frank. He brings a few more joints with him. So now, shit, this is even better. We're at camping. He's got some joints. Fuck, man, no parents around. This is cool shit. So they sit around. They talk for like an hour and a half. Chilling, just talking about shit, talking about weed and motorcycles and smoking more joints, and everything's fine. As it starts to get dark, this happens. As it starts to get dark, Frank's like, well, all right, guys, take it easy, man. Good seeing you. You guys have a fun night. And they're like, cool, man. We got to ride a motorcycle. We got stoned for free a bunch of time. What a great dude. Hope we run into him again. See you later, Frank. Frank takes off. They sit around the campfire like, nothing's happening. They're not worried about anything. So Jeff Lopez, he goes to sleep in the tent. And Eric Fuller is sleeping in his sleeping bag outside the tent. There's some campers next to them. They're playing loud music. They're partying. So there's people around. It's not
desolate.
Yeah, they're not on the top of Everest here. There's definitely people. It's nothing, whatever. So Eric Fuller has trouble getting to sleep. He can't sleep, so he gets up because people try to sleep early when they're camping, and if you're not used to that, that's not going to happen.
It's miserable.
So he gets up and he goes and sits on a picnic table for a while, and eventually, he's just saying, "What the hell do I do?" Eventually, he gets back down and he actually goes to sleep. This whole time that they didn't realize, Frank has been watching them.
Oh my God.
Frank is watching their every move. He is off outside of the camp area watching him. Like he in his own words, he says he was, quote, lurking around waiting. So that's very important. That's going to come up a little later. And by the way, yes, we are going a little long this week as a thank you to you guys because you've been so goddamn awesome with us. So
I'm into it.
Let's do this here. He's lurking around and waiting, as he says. He watches them go to sleep. He watches the partying people at the next campsite because you got to wait for them. You can't go approach some kids with a bunch of people partying. So that all dies down. They all go to sleep. So Frank approaches the campsite. He makes his way into the tent. He wakes up Lopez. He makes him. He has a knife.
Yeah.
When he wakes up, Lopez, he takes him out of the tent and takes him down the tracks with him at knife point. Okay, so this is bad immediately, and this kid's got to be surprised.
Yeah,
he's
and
sleeping.
He's separating the boys right now.
Oh, well, yeah, you don't want to hear this kid screams. Right. There's a whole party next door. It's going to come over and probably beat the shit out of you, I would imagine, and drag you to the police station. So he forces him there. He then ties Lopez up with a wire and, again, performs oral sex on him. Again, he has a definite MO that he's doing here. Not an MO, but his definite way he's going about his things here. He then takes Lopez a little further down the tracks. Again, he does this. That's one place. Now we got to go to another place. He takes him down there a little further and finally decides to strangle him. So he strangles Lopez with wire, with the wire, at least he didn't do it with his bare hands this time, and drags his body off into the weeds. He kissed him while he was dead and then left him there. And that's a detail he provided. He kissed him and then left him there, okay? So now it's 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And Frank heads back to their campsite and wakes up Fuller.
Oh, boy.
Now, he wakes up Fuller saying that Lopez had been hurt while riding the motorcycle.
Okay.
He said he got up and we were riding a motorcycle and he got hurt and he needs our help. Come on, man, hurry.
The things that these guys do when they wake them up, the stories that they come up with.
It's just a quick, oh my God, things happen, you got to go now. And when you're half asleep, you're like, oh shit, we're going. Where is it? If someone woke you, if I came into your house and we were like, Jimmy, your house is on fire, let's go right now. You wouldn't question me. You'd be like, oh fuck, you'd be out in the yard before. You'd be like, why am I standing out here? The house isn't on fire.
Where are my kids?
And by then I'm stabbing you after performing oral sex on you. So it's fucking horrible. You know, nobody wants that. So that's what could happen. So anyway, he takes him away. Come on, let's go. They get a little further away from the campsite down by the railroad tracks. And now Frank whips his knife out. Says, okay, Eric Fuller, you're going to lie down. He makes him lie down. He takes Fuller's axe from him, which is let's take that weapon away from you, big guy. He ties Fuller's hands with a wire. Now ties his hands up with a wire, and Frank performs oral sex on him again, makes him roll over on his stomach.
Wish my wife had the job that he does.
Jesus, or the desire. Christ almighty. Well, let's hope she doesn't strangle you with a wire in your sleep. He then hits Fuller on the head with the axe.
Yeah.
He's got the axe, and all these guys, they don't chop with the axe. All these axe killers, they want to hit you with the blunt end, which is like, God, it's even worse.
Fuck.
Hits him in the head with the axe 4 times.
Jesus.
4 times. Fuller loses consciousness after the first hit. He's out cold. The next morning, or Monday morning, there's some workers that find Fuller crawling out of some brush toward the street, out of the way, covered in blood, not knowing where he is, disoriented. He doesn't even remember any of that. He only remembers waking up in the hospital with 4 wounds on his head. He only remembers 1 blow, he said. These blows to the head damage his peripheral vision, and he has seizures, dizziness, headaches, nausea, and nightmares, and difficulty walking for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
This isn't like this is going to go away in a
No,
week.
this is brain damage and motor skill damage.
And motor skills, and mentally he destroyed this poor kid. I mean, destroyed this guy.
Unbelievable.
But there is a bright side to this, if you can call it that. Eric Fuller does tell the police that the guy who did this, his name is Frank Davis. Not just Frank. His name is fucking Frank Davis.
Got a name.
Here's what he looks like. He's got a fucking motorcycle. They know all sorts of shit about this kid. They end up finding, at this point, too, they're looking around the woods, which while they look around the woods, they find Jeff Lopez's body in the weeds, like we said. That day, they arrest Davis because they know who the fuck he is. They find the murder weapon. They find the axe, who belongs to Eric Fuller's father. It's his father's axe. They find that at the campsite. So they got that out of that. I guess he dropped it back off there, like they must have left it there. Tests on everything revealed no fingerprints. But didn't matter if there was fingerprints or not, because Frank Davis makes a full confession to the deaths of Lopez, Reed, and Bush, the Dwayne Bush from 71. They got that, and 2 counts of attempted murder too with the victims who survived. He everything I just described to you, he admits to all of it.
He's just like, I did all that.
All of it.
What the fuck?
All the details.
What's his angle?
He gave I think he's just fucked. Yeah. Plus, the other thing, too, I don't know, and I'm not going to say for sure, but I can't imagine what the interrogation techniques were like in 1983 if they drug some dude into a place for sexually assaulting and murdering teenage boys in a small town.
They didn't rough him up a smidge.
I have a feeling a phone book might have made its way into the room. I'm just saying that. Just possible. Yeah. They might have worked this fucking guy over, and good. Yeah. God damn it. I'm not for doing that, but if you're doing... This is the ultimate extreme.
This is disgusting.
If you kill an adult, I don't want them to work you over with a phone book. I want the information to be fair.
Right.
If you're tying up teenagers with wires and sexually assaulting them and killing them, I don't give a fuck what they do to you. You did it, motherfucker.
Incapacitating them entirely and then just torturing them. That's fucking horrific.
Told them your name, and then the kid remembers your name and then says, yeah, that's the asshole. Right. Guess what? I don't care what happens to you at that point. Go fuck yourself. Yeah. So, he admits to everything. They introduced that as evidence, obviously, his statement into court. On July 13th, they charge Davis with 10 criminal counts, and they say they're going to ask for the death penalty. Good. This is a good one. This is one of these where we're like, good. We don't feel bad.
No.
Frank Davis initially plans an insanity defense based on all of this here. Now, the pretrial, we'll get into where he gets his insanity from in addition to being horribly abused at that institution. Yeah. There's a reason why he was in the institution, which we'll get to.
Okay.
Davis's lead attorney here, George Hoffer, has just 2 years' experience, which is not what you want in a trial lawyer.
Not a death penalty trial.
Yeah, he has worked as both a deputy prosecutor and a public defender, but he has no experience with jury trials. Zero capital cases.
Perfect.
He is aided by an experienced co-counsel, but he's the guy talking, so it doesn't fucking matter if you're. That guy can help you with your briefs and shit, but when you get up in front of the jury, if you're going it doesn't matter. You're blowing it for your client, which is good in this case. I hope they give him.
Wasn't that in My Cousin Vinny when he did that? The guy came up and just stuttered through the whole thing.
Yeah. The initial defense attorney. He was very measured behind the scenes and telling them what's going to happen. He got up there and he's
just fucking clammed up.
And they're just like, holy shit. That's what I mean. It doesn't matter who you have helping you if you're the guy who has to talk. So there's Humphrey and Hofer. Hofer's the main lawyer. Humphrey is the assisting lawyer. Humphrey even assisted with the jury selection because he has handled several capital cases. So he's doing that. His lawyer, the inexperienced one, Hofer, actually is smart enough to know that he argues that there's an aggravator, because in the death penalty that there's murder and there's an aggravator that makes it death penalty worthy. And the aggravator of lying in wait in this case, there's child molesting and there's lying in wait. There's two aggravators here. The lying in wait is, him lying in wait, waiting for this kid.
The lurking part.
Lurking. Thank you. And that's a word. That becomes a huge. The definition of the word while becomes a huge legal argument. The definition of the word, you think the definition of the word it with the whole Clinton-Lewinsky thing, this is the definition of the word while. Really? In court documents, there are 5 paragraphs dedicated to the dictionary definition of the word while and how it's interpreted in all its different ways.
Fuck out
and
of here.
I've been reading this shit for days.
It's a 5-letter word. What the fuck do you people want?
My head hurts. I've been reading this for fucking days. It's driving me crazy.
How many ways can you interpret while? It's fucking going on while something else is going on.
You get an attorney in a capital case and probably 6-7, they'll figure out a way here.
He'll make while mean dick.
Yeah, that's the truth, man. So he knows enough to argue about that. The lying in wait part. I can't really argue with the child molestation part. That's kind of on there.
Child, you blew him.
Yeah, you blew him. That's it. That's a forcefully blew the kid. Sorry. Well, he's a child, so anything he did is forceful. Right. Now, they had a suppression hearing. At this, they do not try to get his... They do not try very hard to get his statement thrown out to the police, his confession. What they do, they try to throw out a search of his room and his house. The police came and searched his house, and he's saying that basically a family member told the police that they were going to search the entire house anyway. So whatever, and just gave the police consent to search everything in the house, not just Frank's room.
It's consent.
So the consent by the family members, even without the search warrant, makes the search perfectly legal.
Yeah.
You can't. Once you say, sure, come on in, well, then you just gave up your right. You waived it. So that doesn't work, and the search stays in. I'm not sure exactly what they found, but I think it was small things. That shit's not really in the evidence of this. Frank's assertion is that the police applied undue duress to his family to obtain permission to search the house, which there's no evidence of that, and honestly, I don't really give a shit anyway at this point. Now, the main argument here, the main thing he's arguing here is that that he'll argue this later on. He really, really wants his brain injury to come up. His childbirth brain injury. Apparently, he had during childbirth. He had a very severe brain injury during childbirth. I think it was a forceps thing. Trying to yank him out, and he had damage to a frontal lobe that was pretty significant. Significant enough where they said, like, he might not be right, basically. Like, here you go.
Here's your baby, but we
walk
may
it
fuck
off.
this one up.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that one comes out. Like, it's like
no warranty, as is.
It's like
yours.
a cake that they didn't have quite enough flour in the recipe, and they're like, we'll see if it rises. I'm not fucking sure. We'll see what happens.
It might be lumpy.
It happens. Might be crooked. I'm not sure. It's one of those right there. So that is the behavior that he exhibited to get put in the hospital to begin with, is from this brain injury.
Okay.
This guy never had a chance. We will say that.
Yeah.
But that's not.
He's a mess. But that doesn't
that's
mean
not a bunch of teenagers' problems who want to go camping and not be murdered. So
doesn't justify forcefully blowing children.
Exactly. So the counsel here, Hofer, makes a huge effort to prepare the insanity defense. He's ready to proceed with this insanity defense. They said, and in Davis's words, 30 seconds before the trial is the way he said, he elected to abandon the defense and just plead guilty.
Wow.
So he's going to abandon everything. And
he's like, you guys, this is really shaping up to be a shit trial.
Well, what he didn't want is if you bring in, if you do the insanity defense and you're bringing in all his medical records and everything else, then also everything from his past comes up. Everything. And this is shit we don't know about. Who knows? And if he was doing shit to kids in school back then, we don't know any of that because it's sealed records from the 60s in Indiana. But if you were doing a murder trial and it would all be subpoenaed and it would all come out. So he said, this might make me look even worse if they know that. So
they may
never
kill
mind.
me twice.
Absolutely. The trial strategy, that's the decision legally that rests with the counsel and obviously the defendant.
Sure.
But it rests with the counsel, and this isn't something, tactics aren't something that can be judged from the outside.
Okay.
Like you can say ineffective assistance of counsel for certain things, but not tactics.
No.
That's something they tried.
That's the way it goes. Yeah. That's the fucking path you chose.
Yeah. In football, you can be mad at the coach for pulling the quarterback out and putting the shitty quarterback in, but you can't be mad at him for trying to pass to this guy instead of that guy. He was going for that. That's who we thought was going to be open.
Right.
I mean, what are you going to do
And
here?
if it worked, he's a genius. And if he doesn't, then he's an asshole.
Exactly.
So take your pick.
Psychiatric examinations beforehand find Davis competent to stand trial. So he's going to stand trial. And even his attorney's helper here, Humphrey, thought Davis was competent. Now they drop the insanity defense right before the trial, like we said here. With all this evidence, with the psychiatric evaluations and everything else, it's pretty reasonable to drop the insanity defense at this point and go for something else. But there isn't a whole lot of anything else to go for, really, other than and he doesn't help. That's the thing. It comes up later that Hofer said that anytime he would ask Davis to help out. He'd ask him questions that would, serve his own cause. Davis would say things like, well, you find out. Or he would tell him, quote, you get the answer. Or, quote, that's your job. Like, it's your fucking life. When this is over, I'm going home. Right. Either way, I'm going to go home and hang out with my wife and kids.
Guess who doesn't live behind bars, so...
I don't give it. They're not trying to fucking put me in the gas chamber. Understand? Like, I am going to go home no matter what happens.
Your life depends on what I say. So this is kind of your job.
This is all you here. So January 13th, 1984 is the trial, the beginning of the trial. Now, as the trial starts and they start everything, they say, nope, we're going to plead guilty, never mind. So they call it off. And we've seen this a few times. It's like, I don't know if they're bluffing for a deal, and they get up to it and they're like, okay, never mind.
They start thinking about like what the prosecution's going to say, and they're like, we really don't have much to
let's just
fucking take whatever they got.
But we blinked. It's a game of chicken, and they blinked. So he pleads guilty to attempted murder, 2 counts of murder, basically 2 counts of attempted murder and 2 counts of murder.
Okay.
They break it down to the basic. Okay, they cut out what they are going to drop at sentencing. Once all the deal is in place, they will drop the child molestation charges. There's multiple of those, felony murders, more child molestation, unlawful deviant conduct, all sorts of shit like that they fluff it up with.
I hate that they do this.
It's stupid.
I really don't like what they're doing.
They keep those, they drop those just to streamline the whole thing and make it easier for everybody to deal with. But as part of the deal, the state does not they do not agree to not seek the death penalty.
Okay.
They say, we're going to drop half the charges, but we're going to seek the death penalty on the 2 you fucking have.
Okay.
Because we think they're good enough, basically. I think it's one of those. So obviously he's convicted because he pleads guilty.
Right.
Post-conviction, when we're doing the sentencing, his lawyer admits during the post-conviction hearing that he was overwhelmed by the case. He said, quote, overwhelmed.
I'm overwhelmed by it, and I have nothing to do with this shit.
That's what I'm saying. But he even said it's not even from the case. It's not like I couldn't handle the paperwork. He said my anxiety comes from Davis,
that fucking psycho,
not cooperating at all. He said he did nothing. He said he didn't help in his own defense. It had nothing to do with the legal shit. It was just I have an asshole as a client.
It's like trying to get a toddler to tie their shoes and get out the fucking door.
If they
tie
say
your
no,
own fucking shoes.
You can't make their little arms do it. It's just the way it is, man.
No.
Shit. All right. No, then I guess
we aren't leaving.
Fuck it. So. Yes. Good luck.
Wait for your mom to get home.
That's it. That's all you can do. So they have a hearing for pre-sentencing where they, everybody introduces evidence. At the hearing, the surviving kids identify him in court, which looks terrible.
A problem.
That thing he did to everybody else, he did that to me too.
Same thing.
Didn't quite kill me.
Minus death.
Told me his name.
Right.
So that's a problem, and that's the guy. The court decides when it's final, all said and done here, they impose a death sentence on the 2 murders. He's sentenced to death and consecutive terms of 50 years each on the 2 counts of attempted murder. So in case that death doesn't stick, you're still going to be in jail for 100 years after you're already dead. When they were reading to him, because when they tell the defendant this, they also tell him of his right to appeal and his right to all this shit. Davis in court replies, I'm not going to appeal. He's like, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to appeal. He said at this point, he's not going to appeal his death sentence. He's ready for the electric chair right fucking now. Strap my ass in.
He wants the chair.
Chair me up, bitches. Okay. I am ready to go. His attorney said, quote, he's a tormented person. You look at what he's done in his life and you ask yourself, why live? He's indicated his victims will... That's fair.
I don't want that guy as my lawyer
ever. But I would like to I'd like to have a beer with him and hang out with him because he's an honest motherfucker. He said, why live? Quote, he's indicated his victims will feel better if he's dead. His parents will at least be able to say, all right, it's over. Let's carry on. All true.
Yeah.
All true, by the way.
I don't disagree.
Everyone, let's all have a party marching this guy to the electric chair. That parade with the Shriners throwing candy and the fat guy in the lawn chair on the side. March past him. Throw candy.
Let's do a
from the death
13-mile
chamber.
bike ride with that fucker.
Hey, I don't just drag him behind the bikes. I hate this son of a bitch. Some of these guys are women. I'm like, but this and that. Like last week, so I'm like, this poor woman. I wanted her to be free. I felt bad for her. This one, I don't give a fuck at that. I want this guy. Bad things to happen to him here. On his direct appeal, which he has to do, it's an automatic appeal, whether he wants to or not. If he can say, I don't care, he raises, or his team raises 6 issues here. Basically, there's some statutory shit with the aggravating circumstances, like we talked about, the 2 aggravating circumstances. He's going to argue the lying in wait one. There was whether it was a reversible error for the trial court to find evidence that supported finding both murders were committed while committing the underlying felony of child molestation when the actual act of molestation had been completed prior to the killings. So he's saying, look, molestation wasn't part of the killings because I molested him, then I killed him.
Jesus.
I didn't molest him while I killed him. What the fuck? And that's the while thing we're talking about.
Okay.
That's literally what he argues. It's while. I didn't kill him and molest him at the same time. That would be silly.
I couldn't reach his throat with my mouth on his cock.
Obviously,
how could I?
That would be ridiculous. Duh. Jesus Christ.
Jesus fucking.
We've all been molesting a kid and figuring out, can I kill him now or do I have to wait till I'm done here? Everyone's been in that position.
You're
Holy
15,
shit.
You're too tall. I can't reach your throat.
Fucking asshole this guy is, man. Asshole. And also, too, he says that the court didn't look at his mitigating circumstances quite enough. Blah, blah, blah.
But you've got to... I understand the court is probably going to rule the same way I'm thinking, but you've got a wire around a guy's neck and your mouth on... it's so horrible.
It's
obvious that you're going to kill him. It's
pretty
just where I'm
fucking
at.
clear. Looks like you're on the road there.
Yeah.
You know
the whole act is all wrapped into one.
Hey, if you have your Yankee hat on and your Yankee jersey on and your kids in the car and you all have you have a number one foam finger and you have Yankee tickets in your hand, we're going to assume you're going to the fucking game. Just going to assume you're headed to the fucking game and you're pulling into the parking garage to go there. We think you're going in.
Right.
I think it's reasonable to assume that.
No doubt.
Exactly. It's not
the
like
wires his foam finger and the blowjob is his Yankee hat.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So
fucking jerk.
Ridiculous. So they argue the lying in wait thing hugely. That's what they're arguing a lot about, the lying in wait. The law says lying in wait requires the elements of waiting, watching, and concealment for the purpose of taking a victim unaware.
Okay.
So basically, him sitting there waiting and then shouting out to him when he concealed himself in the railroad tracks and then shouted out to him and that sort of thing. So that's what they're saying that is. And I think it is because he was planning. It was even worse than lying in wait.
Stalking. It's
exactly. He's
predatory behavior.
It is exactly what that is. And he used the words lurking around in his own words. So that was used against him, obviously. They're like, what's the difference between lurking around and lying in wait? That's the same shit. So that's what ended up happening here. Now, they also talk about the mitigating factors in Beatty's Memorial Hospital, which, by the way, has been changed to Westville Correctional Center. That is the new name of that now. It was Beatty's Memorial Hospital back then, and they talk about while there, he was, like we talked about, sexually abused by the attendants. And
they should call it not the rapey hospital. That's what they should call it now.
Where kids don't get raped. Right. Come on down, where kids
Bring
don't
the kids,
get diddled.
We won't fuck them.
Promise. Nobody will. Not even the other prisoners. So they keep showing in evidence how the attacks on him as a child, Frank Davis, in this institution were strikingly similar to the attacks he perpetrated on these kids, which makes perfect sense. That's what people do. That's exactly what people do. The court finds also, they say the court finds some insight as to why the defendant has behaved in the manner that he did by this evidence. But the court determines that the evidence is simply not sufficient to show any justification or excuse for the acts perpetrated by the defendant upon these persons.
Good.
No shit. Yeah. Don't care.
It happened. Didn't matter.
Don't matter. Unless the kid was holding a gun on you saying, blow me and strangle me, there's really nothing you can fucking say to that. And even then, on the direct appeal, the Indiana Supreme Court affirms the conviction by a 5-0 vote.
Wow.
Yeah, they
unanimous.
said, fuck you. And they keep the death penalty, too, on a 4-1 vote. And the one dissenter, I believe, is the one that dissents every time. They don't believe in the death penalty. So it's one of those, like we used to have Thurgood Marshall that would do it on any Supreme Court case. He'd always be a dissenting opinion saying it's cruel and unusual punishment.
Just to be the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And this guy, the judge wrote a dissenting opinion, and in addition to being against it in general, he also said the lying in wait and prior murder aggravators had not been proved.
Oh.
Which I think they proved the molestation part.
That guy's out of his mind.
Yeah, he's
How old is that person? Because I think them and your grandma have a little bit of dementia in common.
Yeah, teaming. He'd been on the high court since 1968, and he had voted to vacate more death sentences than any other justice.
Wow.
It's Justice Roger O. DeBruler.
That is a fucking unbelievably.
He's probably dead now. I'm going to go ahead and say.
Probably, but that is a very forgiving person. Jesus.
He voted to vacate 64% of the death penalty cases in front of him. It was 48 out of 75.
That's somebody that hates the prosecutor.
Yeah, I got stats. That's right. I got fucking stats on what some Indiana State Supreme Court judge did on his death penalty cases. That's right, bitch. 64%, motherfuckers. What's up? Patreon.com/crimeinsports, baby. March 17th, 1986. He's in prison. He's on death row in Michigan City, which is Indiana State Prison there. There's a huge uprising in death row by the inmates, including Frank.
Really?
Including Frank. At 9:30 a.m., they take over the cell block with using sharpened broomsticks.
Sounds about right.
It's crazy, man. It started during the recreational period, and shit got crazy. They ended up holding these people. They held them for 12 hours. They originally took 3 hostages and ended up releasing one of them and had 2. There was 14 inmates in this whole thing. The whole point is they're arguing about the inmates are pissed about the overcrowding. No injuries were reported. All these inmates wanted was their demands heard, and they want
more room.
They want more room. They want more something. Like I said, they admitted. It's funny, the one they released was a prison administrator 4 hours into it, and they allowed her. They would release her if they let the prison officials let the inmates talk to a newspaper reporter and give them cigarettes, milk, and iced tea. So they wanted that too. But give us some cigarettes too.
Jesus.
Somebody wanted milk. I don't know, and iced tea.
I mean, I can understand.
Yeah. Nobody wants caffeine in this motherfucker. Nobody.
Cigarette and iced tea. You being tired.
I guess. Yeah.
You're a little parched. A
little milk.
You might want, but milk is fucking crazy.
You know, someone that's just been dying for a bowl of cereal the whole time they've been in there.
That's some lunatic talk. Why do you want a milk, you weirdo?
It's fucking weird, man. They did ask also for drugs to stay awake.
Okay.
They asked for like uppers so they could stay awake.
Some NoDoz and maybe some Coke.
The officials wouldn't give them that. Though.
Okay.
They wouldn't give them that.
Yeah.
They finally agree to release both the other hostages after they get to talk to a reporter for 10 whole minutes. That's what they wanted. They wanted 10 minutes with a reporter. Their whole thing was, the reporter said, quote, they basically said that being electrocuted is their punishment. Their punishment doesn't have to include shakedowns.
Okay.
Which, I mean, but you're on death row for a reason.
We got to check you out every day.
You're the people that we're going to feel least sorry for.
Right.
If you're guilty, obviously there's a lot of people on death row who aren't guilty, and probably a few of these guys.
Right.
But if you are guilty, there's a reason why we don't care what happens.
How scared would you be if you're that fucking reporter that has to go into 14 lunatics that are armed with sharpened broomsticks?
Sharpened broomsticks. Yeah. Like you're on, it's like you landed on some sort of island like 300 years ago. You're like, where are we? And they're poking sticks at you. Holy shit.
You got to go visit Lord of the Flies and have to take their statement.
Yeah, man.
Fuck that.
Absolutely. So this all happens in 86. They make an agreement with little concessions from the prison officials, and the agreement included a promise that no physical retribution would be taken against the inmates, and that a promise that the corrections department would say it favors one cell each for death row inmates, because they're double bunked in death row.
Ooh.
It's like, we're dying, we can at least have our own space. And so the corrections department now promise that when they go to the state next and it's discussed, they will, their stance will be, we want one cell.
They're lucky that they're secluded from the rest of the population, because when that happens, the whole fucking thing's on lockdown, and now you just put people that are generally out in their cell. They're going to be fucking furious. They're going to hate you.
Not to mention, you've been molesting and strangling teenage boys this whole time. You're not going to be the most popular fellow on the cell block. Yeah, that's not great for you. Now, November 17th, 93. Yeah. The court vacates his death sentence.
Really?
They vacate his death sentence due to the mitigating circumstances that they say they were not properly. They
didn't know about the forceps.
They were not properly talked about during the trial. Okay. The brain damage and somebody felt bad for him about the diddling, and it happened to him too. So. Either way, he is given 50-year sentences for each count of attempted murder. And so, and I think it's 60 years for each count above that. Yeah, 60 for each murder, 50 for each attempted murder, all consecutive, 220 years total.
That's pretty brutal.
He's not fucking getting out. That's fine.
He's going to be there a while.
In 96, he is appealing everything.
What?
Even the conviction. He is advancing arguments to support a request to withdraw his guilty plea.
What?
It's been fucking 17 years. Yeah. You're guilty, asshole. I'm sorry. This is. They should just go, who are you again? Yeah. Take a fucking walk, asshole. I'm tired of listening to this idiot. Jesus Christ. He says that his lawyer, his main argument is ineffective assistance of counsel, said the lawyer forced him to forego a jury trial and waive his constitutional rights in exchange for a plea agreement that gave him no real benefit because they were going for the death penalty, but the plea agreement wasn't for the death penalty. Also, he argues the counsel lacked experience to handle a death penalty case, which I agree with. Yeah. And also, he's saying that the attorney allowed an incompetent defendant himself to plead guilty and failed to suppress statements to the police and fruits of what he calls an illegal search on his family home.
I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, he said he failed to present. He said the attorney failed to present an insanity defense and allowed Davis to plead guilty without the requisite intent. He says also too that the counsel failed to advise him on the aggravating circumstances and failed to properly voir dire the jurors.
Okay.
It didn't even talk to the jurors right. Okay. Didn't do shit right, and even then he had an experienced guy with him. He argues that because of the ineffective work of his counsel, there was no attempt to suppress evidence of his statement to the police. He just got no help, he's saying. The court basically says, maybe Yeah, and a couple of those, but mainly no and go fuck yourself, is basically what they tell him.
This was scaring the shit out of me for a sec.
He tries to argue that his plea was not voluntary and intelligent. He alleged his plea was invalid because during the plea hearing he denied an intent to kill until after an off-the-record conference.
Okay.
He's looking for anything, and he's saying, I wasn't saying I did it, I just said I wanted a plea, and then and they're like, well, you have 220 fucking years to think about it, you stupid asshole. There was testimony, and in this too, there was testimony obtained. Apparently, the brain damage thing. This is why why it was vacated. I know this for a fact.
Okay.
Is the brain damage during birth was not brought in, that was not available until 4 years after the conviction.
Okay.
So that's after his appeal, his direct appeal, his conviction and everything. And then in 93, that was out there. They said, okay, he's got a brain injury. That's a mitigating enough factor to not kill him anyway. Okay. So that's why that happened there. Because of that, they had a physician testify that because of this, that and the traumatic abuse, he suffered from PTSD, borderline personality disorder, major features of antisocial personality disorder, and he might not, and also said that might have caused him to have trouble cooperating with his counsel, which all makes sense. That's
but
fine.
I don't know
legally,
I don't know that I see. I'm no lawyer, but I don't see why this guy shouldn't be killed.
In some way, shape,
Being
or form.
honest, I don't see why this guy shouldn't be wiped out after all this. This is fucking horrific. I don't want to pay for this. Granted, I'm not in that state. Well, it's federal now.
No.
Is it federal?
No,
That's
he's in
not even
state prison.
Really?
No, it's all state prison. This is a state crime. No federal.
He should end
federal
up
has
being...
to cross state lines or have some sort of commerce implication or something like that.
I thought capital ones were all federal.
No. That just means you're fucked.
I told you I'm not a lawyer.
You're not a lawyer. We are not lawyers. We are not journalists. The post-conviction court noted, quote, viewing the case as a whole, the trial counsel were competent.
Okay.
It's fine. The guy tried his best for you.
I just don't like that he's got the ability to fight this after what he did. This is fucking horrific.
I mean, you have to, because there are people, Jesus, how many people get exonerated?
Yeah.
This guy's not fucking one of them, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
No.
He's not one of them.
I've watched those death penalty cases on
This
Netflix.
isn't a mystery that they picked him out of out of their ass and then they forced a confession out of him.
Right.
There's a goddamn 2 kids going, that's the fucking guy.
That Frank. That's the Frank.
Wire, blowjob, attempted to kill me. That's the son of a
guy.
bitch. And then he did the same thing to other people, but it was successful. Ridiculous. So next appeal is finally to the Supreme Court of the United States.
The last one.
They also reject the lying in wait aggravator. They rejected it too, like the previous court, but upheld the conviction and the sentence of Davis. The mitigating factors were everything, like we said. That was the one that made everybody do this here. That was the one that made everything
cloudy.
Made it cloudy.
The shit out of
was the brain damage followed by that. And the judge actually says, as a special judge, Bruce Emery of Miami County on this, where they were talking about this. This is one of the judges that vacated the death penalty. He said, quote, the state created the monster it now seeks to destroy.
Wow.
Which is a really fucking good way of putting it.
Wow.
That's it right there. He said, you made this.
Yeah.
You had a brain damaged guy that could have gone either way, and you put him in a place and didn't watch him and allowed him to get abused and sodomized.
The state of Indiana is essentially Frankenstein.
You made this monster, and now you're like, please, somebody kill it. It's like, no, assholes, you made it.
Yeah.
Which, that makes sense, and I'm glad that judge put that on the state to say, watch your don't let this happen to these kids, and maybe this won't happen.
This is our fucking system, and it's your fault.
So there he is. He's in prison then. He goes. He's not going to be executed. But January 22nd, 2008, he fucking dies in prison at age 54, alone and hated.
Young.
Eat a dick,
Deal
Frank
with
Davis.
that, Frank.
Yes. I want it to sound like it was over, but it's not. He's fucking dead. So, bonus, dead guy. So young. I'm sure he...
That's crazy.
Yeah, you know what? Good. His insides were probably as toxic as his fucking outside
It was
demeanor.
pretty rotten.
What a piece of complete and utter shit Frank Davis is.
Thanks, Indiana.
We're happy he's gone, Frank Davis.
Real.
I'm happy he died. And you know what? He probably died before he would have got executed anyway, so it didn't even fucking matter.
He got an early sentence, by the way.
He did.
He only served 20 years.
He did. And it's horrible, man. I mean, that's like... I feel bad for anybody who is actually in that situation where he was as a kid, who was put in it, honestly, through no fault of his own, really. He did some shit, but it was because he had brain damage, and they put him in this hospital, and they did create him.
Warped him.
They created him, but then at some point, it's like, I don't care who created him. We need to be safe and not have our kids be strangled in the woods.
They made a bad Deadpool.
Yeah, they really, really fucking did, man. They really did.
Holy shit.
That's a crazy story. If you like that story, or like we should say more accurately, if you liked our telling of that story, please get on iTunes. You can give us 5 stars. It would make our day. It really would. Those mean the world to us on the business end of this. They drive us up the charts. They make us look important.
They do.
They do. It's everything to us. So please get on there. If that's not enough, like we said, patreon.com/crimeinsports.
Crime in Sports.
Also, you can make a one-time donation on PayPal. Our address there is crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Crime in Sports.
That's the one there. And we want to just quick before we do shout-outs. We're going to do shout-outs in 1 second. We just want to tell you how thankful we are for all of your donations. We really are thankful for all of your donations. We have had so many problems here. We've had so many problems with a certain provider of ours that doesn't want to pay us the money they owe us, and now can't get ads on the show for us. we are
you get
always
bound into a contract with somebody, and then they say exclusivity. It's
exclusivity.
That's the word.
That's the one. That's fine.
I told you I'm not a lawyer.
It's true.
They're the only ones that are allowed to sell advertisement for us. That's it. They're the ones.
So basically,
and then they fucking don't do it.
So we say, hey, we have consistently a top 150 podcast in the fucking U.S.
world.
There are podcasts that are 1/10 as popular as us that are sponsored out the ass. They make a fortune on sponsors. There's people that we know that have half of our listens that get sponsors out the ass and make a fortune off of it and all that sort of thing. And we get shit, ugats, dick, nothing.
Zero.
That's it. Nothing. And we're not complaining to you guys saying, we're saying thank you for keeping us going.
That's why this is long today.
I'm going to tell you one thing. That's exactly why this is long. It's to say thank you. I'm going to tell you this right now. If it wasn't for you guys being so goddamn supportive and so cool with us, if this was all going on, I'd say fuck this fucking show. I don't need this shit. I don't need to not sleep for fucking ever to not make a goddamn dime and feel like I'm getting robbed all the time.
Can you imagine the tweets you would get if it didn't go up that week?
If we quit? Holy shit. But I mean, I would. I'd say we're taking a hiatus till our contract's up because I'm not fucking making these people another goddamn dime. I'm not driving fucking traffic to their site, if nothing else. Even if you're not making it off of sponsors because you somehow refused. It's still traffic.
It's bananas.
And they say that they're trying to sell ads for us. You're not trying very hard. Either you are the most, I said this on our other, either you're the most incompetent son of a bitches on the face of the fucking earth that can't sell an ad for one of the most popular fucking podcasts in the country. Why would you have a fucking network if that was the case? Who can you sell ads for, huh? Who the fuck? Serial? Yeah, anybody could sell ads for Serial, My Favorite Murder, some shit like that. NPR. You can sell it for this too. Either that or you're doing it on purpose.
Which is fucking worse.
Which is worse. It's just like in the movie Casino when Robert De Niro has the slots manager and it gets ripped off and he says, either you're too stupid to know what was going on or you were in on it. Either way, you're fucking out. I can't have this shit in my joint. That's what we're dealing with right now.
We can't have this shit in our joint.
Can't have this shit in our joint. Either way, you're out. So sorry for the rant. Sorry for everything like that. Sorry that you had to hear everything like that. But there's a lot of people that stick with us and they really follow us and they want to know what's going on with us. And we make kind of cryptic references now and then to this whole thing because honestly,
the point is we apologize to yell at you
yes,
like that.
We don't
We're
mean
not
to.
yelling at you.
We were trying to give you information.
That's James telling you he loves you. And
love you and thank you. And by the way, legally, calling them motherfuckers, I am not saying that they are currently, formerly, or future
fucking
planning on, have, or doing fucking their own or anybody else's mother. Now, I'm not saying there's no evidence for or against that. So they might not be. They might be currently, as possible. We speak, fucking their mothers in the face. I don't know anything. I don't know. I'm not saying that's true. I'm saying you never know. But I'm making a legal distinction.
In their face.
Legal distinction when I call them motherfuckers. And cocksuckers, too. Legal distinction on that. I'm not saying they're actually sucking cock, although, once again, anything's possible, honestly. Anything is possible. But
in the slang definition term, that's exactly motherfucking cocksuckers.
Exactly. Yes, that is a fact. If you would like to get a hold of us, by the way, please, we're really friendlier than we just sounded. Please, you can get a hold of us on Twitter at MurderSmall, Facebook.com/SmallTownPod. You can email us over at crimeinsports@gmail.com.
You can.
And we have a long list of some of the most amazing goddamn people on earth that made it so that rant isn't as important as it could be.
Right.
Because you guys keep us afloat and you guys make it so it's like, you know what, I don't even care about them and their sponsors. We're doing it for these people. You guys, this is the credits for the show, as you said last time. It's the credits.
These are the producers of this show.
You guys are the producers.
And real quickly, Alita White, last week's show with Barbara Peterson, she found her.
Yes, that's amazing.
She's a fucking sleuth detective.
Well, she found her through a friend, right?
Through friends, her relatives on Facebook.
See,
found all them and searched through them and then found her. Bang, she's living.
Yeah.
She's alive. She's well. She's remarried. And I'm not going to fucking tell her.
She doesn't want to be
she
found,
lives
obviously.
in Maryland somewhere.
She's doing
great.
She's alive and doing well, though. That's what we wanted to get to you guys. Not in prison. Doing well, has another life, changed her name. So Barbara
thank you,
Peterson's
Alita, for finding her.
I looked for hours and couldn't find her.
Leslie Chatham, Peter Aylett, L. Camille Anderson, Bill Belichick's World Podcast. I haven't heard it. I haven't listened to it at all.
The Patriots,
but they support us.
Thank you,
and
guys.
I love that. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Take some time out of your day and find Bill Belichick's World Podcast. Give it a listen.
Do it up.
Nathan Lewis, The Daily Pickle. I don't know if that's a podcast or what that is, but I dig it. Jennifer Tigney, Alita White, obviously. Rebecca Oxford, Kay Halfpenny, Lisa, Eric Madison, Melissa Butler, Mary Clay Reedy, Claire Tremblay, James Bond Simmons, Krista Morris, Thomas Butler, Heather Fowler, Patrick Stockland upped his pledge, and while recording this, we got a new donation from Chrissy Ann Castaldi.
Thank you. It's a very generous one, too.
She's done that before. You're unbelievable. Thank you so much.
Yeah, seriously.
For real. Heather Fowler, I think I said that one already. David Lope Fan got his father into this as well, which is pretty funny.
Hey, it's a family thing.
Hillary Price, Kimberly Baum, Byron Bell, Lori, Melku.
The look on Jimmy's face right now.
I have sheer panic.
You look like somebody just let the air out of you completely. You're like,
Lori Melku, Marissa Rebar, Meg Markinkowski. Damn it.
You could just physically watch the wind just come out of your
I have
human
so
being's
much
sails.
Confidence as I start reading it, and I'm just like, fuck it.
I'm not
I don't have
get this
it.
right. Shit.
Meg Markinkowski, Estee Langlace, Manj Sanja in Elvern, England. Terrific
Love
guy.
you, Manj.
Jordan with a Y, Mariah Noah, Mariah Menhir. That's the one that I ruined her name with like Marie J or some shit.
Yeah.
It's Mariah.
Mariah
right. Menhir.
Well, sorry we fucked your name up, but we
Tyler
love you.
Marsh, Erica Chase, Rachel Ray, Charles M. Speck, Ryan Anderson, Sol Meck, Greg Zidanick. It's got to be. Or Zidanic? No, it's Zidanic.
All right.
Anyway.
I'll buy that.
Peggy Laprelle, Charlie Sarah Spence, Chandel Whitney, Morgan Spinks. God damn it. I'm such an idiot.
Almost.
Morgan Spinks, Sarah Sophie.
You got
and
this,
the last page, we're right near the end. This is
awesome.
how fucking amazing this is.
How amazing
3
you guys are.
pages
Thank you guys.
of people that fucking give a shit.
As angry as I was 3 minutes ago,
it's all melting away.
It's melting away, honestly. And
my
my heart is fucking warmed over. So thank you guys so much. I'm going to go home happy tonight.
Katie Callahan, Mark Pietrowski, Jane Richards, Ben Richards, David Schapp, Robert Dye, Michelle Rupert, Robin Joyner, Michael Bretz, Kathleen Cassidy, Jordan Nevarez, Jessica Landgren in Australia.
She's the best.
She sends us. She's
so
the
sweet. Goddamn best.
What a darling.
Thank you.
Melissa Hoover, Margie Coons is terrific.
Hey.
She's out there.
I love her too. She's
promoting
awesome.
us like fucking
she
crazy.
Is on our side,
it's
man.
Terrific.
We're on
Thank
your
you,
side
Margie.
too, Margie. Thank
love
you,
dear. Kat Power in New York. She's an asshole. Lori Jensen,
the best.
Frederick Cook, Jane Greaser, Narman. Fucking hell. Norman Adam. I almost had it. Norman Adamarova. Yes, I think I hit that. Ada Morova.
Sounds
I think
good
so.
to me.
And the last one is so easy, Stephen Rooney. You guys are fucking amazing.
Thank you
you so much. If you guys give a shit about correcting how I just ruined your name, find me at Whisman Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat. Interact, and that's my favorite part about this, I think, is really hearing from you guys and seeing the different characters, the different personalities, the different people that listen. It's fucking fascinating.
It is.
We've said it before. How
we can't believe it.
Everything
honestly,
from women that knit in their 60s down to fucking 20-year-old college kids that just want to hear a story.
It's cool, man. And we thank you guys so much. We didn't expect to have such a wide campfire.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not to use a camping term. But we're casting a wide net.
We had a big campfire that we're
stalking and we got our wire sitting here and we're waiting, but we will not sexually molest you or strangle you. But we do want to sit in the woods with wires just to wait.
There's a shitload of Carmex on my lips.
Oh, man. So at least it won't be terrible for you guys. Let's just say that. And if you want to get a hold of me, I am at Jimmy P is funny. You can do that there, or try to find me on Facebook and copy and paste my last name from the show description, because we know you're not going to try to spell it.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's do that. And guys, what
a story.
What a story. Thank you guys again for everything. Hope you enjoyed the extra long episode this week. But until next week, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.